because I came to America 71 years ago. I want to tell you something about that experience of mine, because I think it may be appropriate for some of you. I hear there are 75 of you here today. I left Shanghai in 1935 on a boat called President Coolidge. It took us 18 days to cross the Pacific. But the last day, I didn't sleep. I was on deck, watching for San Francisco Bay. And when it appeared, it's a moment, I tell you, I have never experienced again. A moment of great joy, expectation, excitement. I was alone in some ways because my family was not with me, but I felt very much part of something already. Now, the name of the island, if I remember correctly, is called Angel's Island, where I landed. Not Ellis Island, that many of you probably came. But it could have been Devil's Island, and my reaction would have been the same. That sense of joy is unbelievable and difficult to describe.
That video was famed architect I.M. Pei recounting the story of his immigration in 2006. I.M. Pei was a young man on his way to study at the University of Pennsylvania when he was sent to Angel Island. With the support of his wealthy family and a student visa, Pei was sent on his way with little hassle. It explains the happy memories he has with the immigration station, in contrast to many other immigrants. Students were one of the few exceptions to the 1924 Immigration Act, and immigrants who could show some form of wealth avoided being labeled a quote-unquote likely public charge, which was a common reason for deportation. Pei quickly found that the University of Pennsylvania was not what he thought it would be. He felt intimidated by how skilled his peers were, and the Beaux Arts style, based on ancient Greece and Rome, did not click with him. He quickly transferred to the engineering program at MIT, only for the dean there to convince him to give architecture another try. Unfortunately for Pei, the MIT curriculum also had a heavy focus on the Beaux Arts school. Pei was drawn to the international style, exemplified by Le Corbusier and Frank Lloyd Wright, both of whom Pei credits as major inspirations for him. While finishing his undergrad, Pei took a trip to New York City and fell in love with a woman named Eileen Loo. Eileen and Pei were married in 1942. Eileen was also an architect, and she enrolled in the landscape architecture program at Harvard, which gave Pei an introduction to the Harvard Graduate School of Design, which he joined in December. During World War II, Pei participated in the National Defense Research Committee. In particular, he focused on creating more effective incendiary bombs. Pei spent 2 years there, but didn't disclose much about his work or his thoughts on it. After receiving his master's and teaching at Harvard for a few years, Pei was recruited by William Zeckendorf of Webb and Knapp. It was here that Pei began his career that catapulted him into the canon of great architects. He designed the corporate building for Gulf Oil in Atlanta, the Roosevelt Field Shopping Mall on Long Island, and L'Enfant Plaza in Washington, D.C. Eventually, Pei left Webb and Knapp to have a fully independent firm, I.M. Pei and Associates. Under this firm, he designed the National Center for Atmospheric Research, the Kennedy Library, several city blocks, and the National Gallery of Art's East Building, just to name a few of his projects. I.M. Pei and Associates would also be the height of his career, where he designed what would be his most iconic building and project, the Grand Louvre, a renovation of the Louvre Palace. When most people think of the Louvre, they immediately think of the large glass pyramid centered amongst a collection of old French buildings. This wasn't always the case. Pei insisted on the pyramid, a holdover from his original design of the Kennedy Library, saying that it would best complement the design of the original buildings. Not many shared his opinion. Pei said that at the time, probably 90% of Parisians disliked the thought of the pyramid. Pei was convinced, though, the pyramid had to be there, and created a scale model of it to show the public what it would look like. His vision won out, and most of his critics, upon seeing what the pyramid would look like in reality, changed their opinions. Pei would go on to have a long career after the Louvre, designing several other museums and large buildings, up until his death at the age of 102 in 2019.